Sweet harmony. Today, that's what we're going to be looking at here on the episode of Dulcimerica, continuing our study of elements of song. My name is Bing Futch. Thank you very much for joining me. I wouldn't normally play Black Mountain Rag with the parallel harmonies I just showed you there, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to add those additional bits of color into the mix. And during this whole 4-week series, we are looking at the basic building blocks of a song, starting with melody, as we did last week, and then this week, building up into harmony, continuing on into chords, and then finally a bass or a bass line of some sort. Now really, if you add chords to a melody, you are accomplishing all 4 of those things at once. You're laying down a root note or a bass, and you're also adding harmony into it. But I'm also thinking about this in terms of songwriting and breaking things down to even smaller pieces and compartments so we can take a look at the melody, figure out how to harmonize that melody, figure out chords that will complement it all, and then a bass line that'll wrap the whole thing up together. So this is partially about the different pieces of a tune, and it's also partially about arranging a tune and coming up with some extra licks. And that goes a little bit outside of the study of what we call functional harmony. But today is all about the harmony, and we're going to dig right into it after I give a shout out to one of my patrons on Patreon, Susan Farrow. And Susan, thank you so very, very much for all of your support, encouragement, dedication, and for coming out to the live shows. It's been a long time since I've been able to see you at a concert, but it's always wonderful to see you in the audience, and I thank you so much for your kind words, for your reinforcement, and for being there every single day as I continue to make music, teach music, and do this thing that I do. I want to thank all of my patrons every single day for doing that, because you guys are truly a part of my art. You make it possible for me to do the research, to study, to get better, to practice, to figure out lesson plans, to record, to write, to create tablature, do arrangements. This is all really much a luxury in the life of a full-time musician, and it is amazing to me that for the past 6 years my patrons have been there, have stuck with me, and have made it possible for even more music and more education to flow freely. So thank you, Susan, and to all of my patrons. You guys are my heart. I love you very much, and thank you for all that you do. Now, if you guys are interested in Patreon out there, I got this open house that is always going on. You just go to patreon.com/BingFutch, scroll past all the sign-up stuff, go to the open house section, follow that open house tag. It'll lead you to a lot of free downloads, whether it be pages from books, tablature for ukulele, Native American flute, and mountain dulcimer, general music theory study, videos, and cuts from my albums over the past 30 years. It's all free for you to download, and if you think this might be something you're interested in, just $5 a month to subscribe, or $50.40 for an annual pass. That 16% discount gets you 2 months free. If you think you might like to join up and be a part of this amazing supportive community and also get a lot of fun stuff for yourself, please do consider becoming a patron like Susan. Susan, again, thank you so much. So here we are with our second step in our elements of song study, and we're talking about harmony. Harmony is from the Greek word harmonia, and that basically means jointly, together, in unison, not in unison necessarily, but together as a thing. That is not the academic way of putting it, but I'm trying to keep things on a very layman's term here. If you can think about melody as being something that moves horizontally from side to side, one note after the other, boom, 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 boom. When we think of harmony, we start to think vertically. As that melody moves along this way, horizontally, we've also got notes that are happening directly above the melody, and they are moving together. Sometimes they move in sync, and sometimes they move different distances away or intervals away. It's important to recognize that the word interval refers to the distance between 2 notes. So if our melody note is down here and our harmony note is up here, then the interval between them is going to be the personality of that particular harmony. So a harmony is basically playing more than one note at a time. We've already discovered that the melody can live by itself like this. And so what you saw me do there in the opening is I basically added a harmony note for every melody note on the middle string. So if I started here, my harmony is going to be 2 frets up on the middle string. Or sorry, I went 1 fret up. That's a nice sweet harmony there. My next melody note is up here, B. And so I came over on the middle string. 1 fret up once again, and there's a pattern you're going to recognize. And then my next melody note is down here at A, and so I came up 1 on the melody string, or on the middle string, sorry, just 1 fret up on the middle. And you'll notice that every time I do that, from melody, go over to the middle string and up 1 fret, it gives me a really pleasing harmony. And you can use this in any kind of music without having to think about what you're playing. Just simply move your finger over to the middle string and go up 1, and it'll give you a really pretty harmony. And there are 2 different types of harmonies that you're really going to run into. There's consonant and there's dissonant. Consonant are beautiful, pleasing to the ear, lovely harmonies that you're hearing right here. And dissonant melodies or harmonies are ones that land not quite so softly on the ear, and they might be a little rough around the edges, and sometimes they might even be downright disturbing. But there's a place for all of that in the world of music, not just the beauty, but also some of the intense other stuff that there might be hanging around. So what we're looking for generally, though, we're looking for those consonant harmonies, the ones that make people feel good, and you can pretty easily get those with this little trick. Of course, it keeps your fingers pretty busy if you're running around trying to do that, and there are other ways to get this type of harmony. For example, I don't normally do it following the melody. I actually let the drone do the work, or you could drone a D on the middle string there and do this. And then walk down with your harmonies. It's a little easier on the fingers. It's not as tough to bounce back and forth with that. And it doesn't matter if it's a parallel harmony where it's right next to where you're playing the melody, or whether you're droning and holding down one note to be a harmony for a number of melody notes that you play. It all serves the same function, and this is the nice stepping stone to get towards playing chords. And a chord typically is going to be 3 notes played simultaneously or more. So we're only dealing with 2 notes, a melody note and a harmony note. And at this point, we're not quite playing chords yet, but we are definitely starting to build chords to create a foundation for the melody. So you can kind of drone that one note and then harmonize. You could also harmonize going in the other direction, playing the melody on the bass string, and then just kind of reverse your fingers. The one thing that's really nice about the mountain dulcimer is that it's very, very easy to create harmonies. Even if you're not exactly sure what you're playing, it sounds good if you just kind of keep your fingers the same distance apart and move them around the fretboard. Now, because we are working generally with a semi-diatonic instrument with extra frets, we've got these wide spaces that are wide, they're whole steps in the scale. And we've got these narrow spaces between frets, those are half steps in the scale. And because we've got a combination of whole steps and half steps, sometimes when we hold our fingers in a certain way and then move them to another place on the fretboard, you're actually getting 2 different types of harmony, even 3 types or 4 types of different harmonies. And really, the interval, the relationship between notes is what we're talking about. Some of these are creating chords that are perfect for the key you're playing in, and sometimes they're creating lead-ins to chords that are not part of what you're playing, but they still sound good. So in general, with the mountain dulcimer, you can do that with a lot of different positions. If your melody is here, you can go up 1 fret on the middle string. If your melody is here, you can actually go down 2 frets to the middle string, and that will give you some nice harmonies as well. That's pretty, isn't it? And just add the bass string in there. And that's a lot of what's happening in the C part of Black Mountain Rag. So I'm going down 2 frets and then I'm going to walk that whole thing up. So remember last week when I played that part, I played it like this. The melody went up by itself and I just droned that B on the middle string at the 1st fret. This time I'm dragging that behind me and I'm keeping my fingers an equal distance apart to get parallel harmonies. That's nice, isn't it? It adds a little extra flavor and color to whatever you're playing, and you can just keep your fingers an equal distance apart. From the melody to the middle string 2 frets down, or from the melody middle string 1 fret up. And both of those will give you very easy harmonies. Try that at home with other tunes where you know the melody already. Try going up 1 on the middle string or down 2 on the middle string and follow along with your melody, and you'll find you have usually a really, really nice harmony that's taking place there for you. Likewise, when you're coming up with your own music on the mountain dulcimer and developing ideas, remember that that's going to lead you towards, and it's a gateway to working with chords on the mountain dulcimer. Just start with your melody. That's going to be one part of the chord. And then you're going to add in that harmony somewhere on the middle string. What I did when I first started playing mountain dulcimer is I would just sort of mess around on that middle string and see what different types of harmonies I could come up with. I took note of which ones had a consonant feeling, more beautiful and pleasurable, and which one of those were more dissonant, that were a little ragged, little jagged, little edgy. And once you find those, when you're trying to write something and you know what kind of mood you're looking for, whether you want it to be kind of upbeat or whether you want it to be kind of sour and out of sorts, you'll recognize and remember those intervals between the melody and the middle string and be able to call them forth, again, without thinking a whole bunch about what chords they might be a part of. None of that stuff is really necessary. What really matters is what you hear, what you feel, and eventually what you play. So that is an introduction to harmony. We're going to get down deeper into this next week as we explore chords. And we've looked at it before, but not the way we're going to next week. So I hope you'll join me. Thank you, everybody. We will see you soon.